Long Live Your Turtle here. In today's video, we're gonna go over some cool updates, some cool things going on, and some future experiments that I'm going to be doing that hopefully will turn into great DIY projects for anyone following this channel. Now right here is my 100-gallon indoor turtle tub. It houses two of my slider turtles. We got Harold and Crackers in here. Now if you follow my channel, you would know that Moses and Crackers were in here. However, Harold was up in the 75-gallon aquarium. My fiance works right next to this aquarium, and Harold can get quite adventurous and kind of claw around and climb around, and she might be gravid, and she's never used my nesting boxes, so she's being super annoying. So I switched her with Moses. Moses gets a 75-gallon. She's a little bigger, but she's doing great up there, and Harold's loving it down here, a little bit more at peace, I think, not being in the limelight of our dining room. And I'll probably switch them again eventually once my fiance goes back into the office, but right now Harold's gonna be sticking around in the turtle tub. So if you missed it, my last video showed how I built this jungle theme that you see here. This is basically an upgrade from the previous design I had to make a jungle theme. Now again, if you've seen my older videos, we made a bucket filter that added 600 gallons per hour of filtration to this setup here. Now I already have a Fluval FX6 running here, and hey, guess what? You can't over filter, you can only add filtration, and I love adding filtration to turtle tanks. Why? Because turtles are poopy, and I got goldfish in there, poopy. So adding all this filtration is doing awesome. It's keeping the water crystal clear and just making maintenance on this whole setup down here in my basement, so it's a little inconvenient, a lot easier. But you know what they don't change? They always want the YouTubers to say, hit that subscribe button, or smash it or something, or hit that like button, or just absolutely crush it. So do that, please do that. Follow this channel if you like DIY projects. I think you'll get a kick out of some of the content that I have in this channel. So thanks in advance for hitting, smashing, clubbing that subscribe and like button, and YouTube will love it. It'll help me in my channel, and it'll help YouTube because they like you seeing ads. What I want to talk about right now is what you see behind me. This is my 10-gallon aquarium. Again, if you've watched this channel before, you'll know that I got this aquarium to be a breeding aquarium for feeder fish for my turtles. It sounds cruel, but turtles eat fish, and it's just part of their diet in the wild, so I want to give them something natural. I don't want to go with those rosy red minnows or goldfish that you can buy from a store, because those can carry disease, and they're not actually the healthiest kind of feeder fish that you can give your turtle, especially because you don't know where they're coming from and you don't really know what their diet was. But we have back here is fancy guppies, and I'm breeding them, so I know exactly what they're being fed. I know exactly how their parameters are. I know it's gonna be perfect for my turtles and their diet. It's gonna give them a little bit of enrichment, and it's just part of the circle of life that the turtles eat the fish that were bred in this tank. Let's check out real quick how this tank is doing. You'll be surprised. I just got these fancy guppies a couple months ago. All right, so just keep a close eye on everything in here. It's gonna be a little bit overwhelming, I think, at some point, but the more you look, the more you see. What do you see? Babies, fry everywhere. And look at these guys. Those are not the parents. Those are babies fry that have grown up. What we have here, parents, that's a female. Got my other females. And then somewhere, the males are hiding. We'll get to them when they come out. But I don't want you to get overwhelmed here, because there are a lot of fish in here, and yes, it's way overstocked, especially if these fish were to ever grow up. But hey, guess what? Like I said, these are gonna become feeder fish. And you can see already that we have some of our fry that were born pretty much like a week after I got these fish in this tank. They're already growing up quite big, and I'm just about to take them out. I'll probably give another week to grow. They're just about under an inch, I would say, maybe 3/4 of an inch. And they're ready to go in the tank. I don't want this to get overpopulated and dangerous for all the fish. So they're gonna be taken out, and they're become feeder fish, and we're gonna keep this cycle going. Oh, you can see one of the males here. He's a good looking guy. Just to let you know, we got lots of plants in here. This is a planted tank. This keeps your fish really well protected. That's why so many fry are surviving here. The parents will actually just eat the fry. So having this many fish in here is showing that what I have in this tank right now as a setup is really providing plenty of protection for our fancy guppy baby fry, especially because this is only in a 10-gallon aquarium and all this can survive. So we're doing something right there. Obviously, I have to do plenty of water changes to keep this tank really, really healthy and clean for our pretty much mass population going on in here. So yeah, I'm gonna take some of them out. We got probably 30 fry in here, so way overstocked, but before you say anything, they're coming out, okay? Oh, we got our other male back there. He's beautiful looking. Sorry, females. Males take the spotlight here. All right, so just a quick history on the guppies I got here. They are no particular strain. I got them from PetSmart. In that last video, if you missed it, I went to my local pet stores and they didn't have any guppies, and I really wanted to get my breeding going for my fancy guppy tank. So I went to PetSmart, I know. They separate their fancy guppies by gender, so they got male tank and a female tank. I got 4 females and 2 males. One of the males unfortunately passed away, so I replaced that male and got this orange guy. The other male is right here. He's got a cool coloration there. But they are doing really well. I'll note that I had fish fry in here within 2 weeks of putting these guppies in here, which means that even though the fish were separated at PetSmart, at least one of the females was still pregnant and had a bunch of fry. These are the ones that you see that are a little bigger, and they're doing really well. It takes about 30 days once the mating deed has happened for a guppy to give birth to live fry. And every 30 days, this process can happen over and over and over again, which is why guppies are such great breeders and can be really good breeder fish. It can take about 6 months for a guppy to become full size, and that's not gonna happen with my guppies in here. I'm gonna take them out about probably half size, just so this doesn't become overpopulated. Since these guppies are breeding just so incredibly well, it's gonna become a little bit too much. What's up, little guys? So yeah, I'm keeping a really close eye on water parameters in here, doing my water changes weekly, giving plenty of food for healthy growing fry, and they're gonna be excellent feeder fish for the turtle. And that's that for the successful Fancy Guppy breeding tank. Let's take a quick jog up the stairs to the 75-gallon aquarium where Moses is hanging out with a bunch of convict cichlids and suckerfish. And let's check out the state of that tank, what's going on up there, and some future projects for this channel. Let's do it. All right, so I wanna give you guys a raw update on how my 75-gallon aquarium is doing here. Typically, obviously for my videos, I'm trying to make everything look really nice, and that's not totally realistic because I have a turtle in my fish tank and they can be a little destructive. So I want to show you guys just what's going on in here, give you a general update, how all the fish are doing, how the tank's doing, and show you some, I guess, realistic situations that happen with these tanks with turtles. First thing I want to talk about is my DIY aquarium cover. Now, I posted a video on how I made this a little while ago, but the reason I made it was I made this basking platform that fits over half my tank, but there is a whole other half that would be wide open if I did not have a cover on it. And since this basking platform allows you to fill your tank all the way up to the top, my turtle would easily be able to escape since it would only take about ½ inch of climbing to get out and down. So I didn't want that to happen, so I made this cover out of just spare pieces I had from other DIY projects. But I had this egg crate here, and I had this thin acrylic sheet. Now this is like 093, so really thin. And you can see right now, this whole hinged area I had. So this is actually a new one I made because the other one had the same problem and I wanted to see if I could fix it. I didn't. And what you see here, what the problem is, it's warped really, really badly. And why it's warped? Because acrylic will absorb moisture, and it does this very unevenly because it's over the tank like this. So you get a lot of this warpage on the sides, and that ended up breaking the hinges off because now you have that rigid glue being warped, so it just snaps off, and it's pretty much no longer usable to the extent that I designed it, but it still sits there and the turtle doesn't push it off or anything, doesn't escape, so it still does something. So with all that information, definitely suggest either you get much thicker acrylic or just use glass. So I use this acrylic because it's really light and I had it left over and it's pretty easy to cut. Glass is also really easy to cut. So what I think I'm gonna do in my next video is I'm gonna show you how to make this with glass, and it's gonna be a similar price overall. And I'm gonna try to make it just as cheap as what you would buy online, or even cheaper if possible. Glass won't warp like this is warping here, and it's relatively cheap and really easy to cut. Maybe even easier than acrylic. But stay tuned for that video if you want to see how to make a glass top for half your tank, because you're going to have your turtle basking dock over there, and this is a turtle video. However, maybe you could just make 2 and you could make it for fish tank too. But stay tuned for that. Otherwise, this cover is doing great. Why I like it is you can custom break out this egg crate so my filters can go in here and I could add anything I want back there, and the turtle can't escape. All the rims are covered and it'd be really hard for them to climb out this way. Like I said though, this is a raw shot of my tank. It needs a water change and I need to do a little bit of cleanup in there because I've been on a couple of trips and haven't been able to keep constant attention on making sure everything is pristine in here for my videos. But I want to make it realistic and show you what's going on without much touch up after a little time with a turtle tank. So first thing, this looks awful. You got this angled spray bar here for my Polar Aurora filter because the turtley ended up knocking off the suction cup and clip that holds this a little bit higher and horizontal. So that has to be fixed once in a while because, you know, it's not that strong and the turtle's quite big. You can see here, this absolutely needs to be cleaned up. There's a reason why this is so dirty actually, which we'll get to in a second. It's not usually like this ever. Gotta clean that intake strainer, that's pretty bad. I would get a sponge for it, but my turtle would eat a sponge of course, so I'm not gonna suggest that. You'll notice my plant, that's part of my turtle-proof decoration, has been ripped up, and that is a result of putting Moses in this tank recently. I wanted to try her out in here. She's a little bit bigger and rougher of a turtle, but I wanted to give her a shot in this tank and see how she did. And this is what she did. Ripped out that entire plant stem, but it actually looks kind of good over there. It's kind of hanging out. You can see some of the plants that I had over on that side. If you saw any of my old videos, those are pushed around. Again, Moses is quite a little brute. You can see these pots that actually used to be up in this basking area with little plants in them have been graciously knocked into the water. We got 1, we got 2, we got 3, we got 4 back there. You know, that's just what happens. You got a turtle. Had those little pots with little succulents, and the turtles didn't like the succulents up here. They wanted those in the water, gone. Not having those up there, I'm just kind of leaving them there for now. Kind of looks crappy, but kind of matches the theme of this little Grecian area here. But everyone, let's say hello to Moses. She's looking great, healthy. Great little turtle. She's the one that'll munch on your finger. Just keep going though. Let's keep going. Oh, you might have noticed we got our convex cichlids. They're doing fantastic in there. We got all 4, super territorial, of course. They'll go after Moses if she goes way down there. They'll try to intimidate her, which doesn't really work. I don't think Moses knows what's going on. But Moses is doing fine. It's not bothering her. It's not giving her any health issues. Oh, hello, convict. And then we got number 3. And then where's 4? 4 might be back here. Oh, and then we have our Plecostomus, our common pleco. He's doing awesome. He's growing a bit. I was actually worried putting Moses in here because Moses is an absolute lawnmower when it comes to putting any kind of fish in tanks. But the convex cichlids immediately understood this absolute threat because before Harold was in here, Harold's pretty docile and not really going to be super aggressive. But this one, just look at her. So awesome that the suckerfish, who's a little bit less mobile, is surviving and thriving and growing. Much darker now, looking great. Oh, you can see back there, looking awful as usual, Penplax spray bar, a section of it, because it has a couple sections, has fallen down into the back. And that is a result of Moses in here. Thanks, Moses. Again, to the viewers, I don't want to pretend like a turtle tank stays pristine at all times from my video channel. No, things happen. You got to clean them up. You got to always maintain your tank. It's not perfect all the time. You probably noticed it back here, but I got this giant ball of plants and the filter is just pushing it around, so it's just in a little vortex there. But this was basically an experiment, and that experiment was, if I put plants in this tank, will the turtles just eat them? And if you saw my video before, this little ball was probably double the size. So you can only imagine where the plants went, and you can see in the intake there, got a couple plants, and then over here, even worse, but that is because this lady likes to chomp at them constantly. And it's pretty common knowledge, but it's very difficult to have a planted tank in a turtle tank, especially if it's not a gigantic tank where there's tons of space for the two to exist. So I confirm my suspicions, and Moses and Harold and Crackers all love to eat the plants I put in here. So I will not be adding a bunch of plants down in the substrate because they will be eaten by Miss Moses, Harold, and Crackers. However, I do have a video coming up of how you can have plants exist in your tank without your turtles eating them, at least enough for them to grow so you could transfer them to the tank to be eaten. So also stay tuned for that video. That will be in the future, and that will be pretty cool. I'll probably do that in my pond downstairs, but it'll still work for whatever application you want. Now, if you are new to this channel, again, I have a DIY video on how to build this exact structure you see here. It's a great basking platform for larger turtles. A 10-inch turtle could fit on the basking area and get up that ramp easily. And it fits on a 75-gallon aquarium and any aquarium that's 18 inches wide. So that would include a 40-gallon aquarium, a 60, I think a 90, and a 120. All have this 18.5-inch, I think, total width here, and that fits for this basking platform. So check it out if you want to make something similar. It's a great basking area for turtles and aquariums. I have a DIY video on how to make this cover if you're interested in it. I just suggest not using acrylic and instead using glass. In the future, I'm gonna make a video on how to make a fully glass top. Down here, this is a DIY turtle-proof decoration. Get that green plant out of there. But those 3 vases and that red plant are all siliconed in to white pebbles that are then siliconed onto a tile. So those can't be moved around at all by this big Miss Moses. So that is a turtle-proof decoration, DIY little project there if you want to check that out. And lastly, in the back, you might have noticed that mosaic tile background, and that was another little DIY project. Check it out in the description if you want to make something similar to that. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like the setups you saw, the turtle tub, the tank upstairs, or the tank here behind me, check out my channel. I show all sorts of DIY videos on how to build setups for pet turtles. And if you want to see future DIY pet turtle related videos, hit that subscribe button. If you like the videos, hit the like button. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment on this video. See ya, and long live your turtle!